Hey troops, welcome to the channel Dit Commando. My name's Ryan and I'm a former Royal Marine from the United Kingdom, and today we're going to be reacting to another video from the infographics show, and it's called How to Defend Earth Against an Alien Invasion. Kind of military, really, isn't it? You know, I guess every single military on the planet would be involved if that's the case. But yeah, this one should be good. Keeping up with the theme of American content, military content, and trying to introduce a bit of alien content as well, because I've had so many people wondering if I believe in aliens or not yet. That is still to be decided, guys. But before we get into it, like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you want to become a member, press the join button or click on the link in the description. And also give me a follow on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and on my second channel, Dit Gaming. All the links for those are in the description, guys. But other than that, I will see you in the comments. Peace.
This video was made possible by Wix. If you are ready to create a website, head over to wix.com/go/infographics to try out one of their premium plans right now. Imagine one night you're out admiring the starry sky and you spot a shooting star, then another, and suddenly you realize those aren't stars, they're UFOs. And they're coming for our, well, something. While the likelihood is minuscule, the threat of an alien attack is serious enough that governments around the world, including the United States, all have top secret contingency plans in place for just such an event. But if history has taught us anything about a superior culture making hostile contact with an inferior one, it's that things don't usually work out well for the natives. So is there anything we could do to defend the Earth against technologically superior alien invaders? To explore the question, let's first assume one thing about our alien foes. They don't want to outright destroy Earth. After all, if total destruction was their goal, then it would be as simple as dropping asteroids on our head and watching the fireworks from space. So the president...
You know something? It's slightly off topic, but there's one thing that would actually unite us all as a humanity. All of our indifferences would be solved overnight if an alien invasion was paramount. If that was actually imminent, you know, all of our militaries would have to come together. No matter what culture, creed, it doesn't really matter. If your world is getting invaded by another worldly being, everyone would be comfortable in the fact that we're all quite similar. Creed, colour, skin tone doesn't really matter, does it? You know, when your world is being invaded. And you know what? I'd like to actually see that kind of togetherness. Not necessarily saying that an alien invasion against the Earth would be a good thing, but it would have some pros, I guess, being devil's advocate. What do you think about that? Drop a comment below.
The president's phone rings late one night, waking him from his sleep. NASA has discovered alien ships en route to Earth, and they don't look friendly. What now? The first step in defending Earth would be to decide on a global strategy. Acting on the safe assumption that the aliens find interstellar travel and the invasion of entire worlds to be a very expensive affair in terms of resources and manpower, or alien power I suppose, we should adopt a strategy of harassment and delay, not unlike that employed by guerrilla forces around the world in our recent history. Odds are that if aliens can cross the stars, our tanks and planes aren't going to stand up very well to their tanks and planes, so we shouldn't try. Instead, we should focus on making the war as long, painful, and expensive for the aliens as possible, with the ultimate goal of forcing the aliens to reconsider continuing their invasion in face of such a steep cost.
Right, what if aliens who would invade our Earth don't have a currency? And expense was not really a concept, because, you know, money is a human concept, a man-made control mechanism. That's all it is. What do you think, guys? Am I talking rubbish here or what? Let me know your thoughts. But maybe the more advanced civilizations getting rid of the whole concept of money, and they just live a resourceful life where they give and they take equally, you know, and they're not really bothered about having glitz and glam things. It's all about, you know, living prosperous as a life form, as opposed to in a wealth way, you know. I don't know, just a thought.
In lives, finances, and materials. The first phase of our defense strategy would be to try and deny the local space around Earth to the aliens, or at least make it extremely hazardous for them. We can achieve this by triggering what scientists call the Kessler syndrome, or when orbital space around a planet is so full of debris that any attempts to enter orbit are extremely hazardous due to the high chance of collision. Currently, there are 2,000 satellites in orbit around Earth, and an estimated 600,000 pieces of space junk ranging from 1 centimeter to 10 centimeters in size, which destroy one satellite a year. With man-made objects reaching speeds of several kilometers a second, even a single flake of paint can strike with energy to do serious damage. If the aliens don't shield their landing craft as well as the motherships that cross space at near or faster than light speed, then it's likely that a Kessler effect will present an extreme hazard that will hamper or slow their invasion attempts. In order to
I don't think so. I think if they're technologically advanced enough to be able to get to Earth, I think they'll figure out how to get away from a few objects in our orbit, guys, okay? If we are worried about our kit and equipment not being innovative enough to be able to withstand an alien invasion, then I think they'll be able to get past our satellites, guys.
To create a protective shield of space junk around Earth, we could simply target our own satellites and destroy them in place, or if we had enough time, outfit ballistic missiles with fragmentation warheads that would explode into billions of tiny shards. While large pieces of junk would likely be easy for the aliens to track and destroy, it would certainly be difficult and very time-consuming to try and eliminate millions of pieces of space debris the size of a screw. The next step in our Earth defense plan would be to target alien ships during their most vulnerable phase, as they enter the atmosphere. When the American space shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere, it experienced incredible heating due to friction with the air, reaching temperatures of up to 21,140 degrees Fahrenheit. As the shuttle transferred its kinetic energy into thermal energy, it created a shockwave directly in front of the craft, and the extreme heat formed a cloud of plasma around the vehicle, which prevented radio communications or the use of onboard sensors. It is likely that alien craft would experience a similar phenomenon, presenting an opportune time to strike, as they would likely be flying blind and unable to maneuver without tearing themselves to pieces due to their extreme velocity. The United States
I like how they just come up with these different theories, and they all kind of contradict each other, guys. I mean, let's face it. If an alien has managed to get here, he's got the technology to be able to withstand all of these things.
States, China, and Russia all have experience with anti-ballistic missile technologies as parts of their national missile defense programs. Most of these programs focus on the terminal phase of a missile's trajectory as it re-enters, or shortly before it re-enters, the Earth's atmosphere. While many of these programs have spotty success records, the American Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, or THAAD, had displayed very robust capabilities in destroying incoming warheads. This and similar weapon systems could be turned on our alien invaders to strike at their landing craft while they are too high up and moving too fast to either detect the interceptors or move out of their way. But say our artificial Kessler syndrome and our high-altitude interceptors weren't enough to keep the aliens at bay. What now? One option would be to prepare ahead of time for the possibility of invasion with a sort of nuclear dead man switch. That is, we would disperse nuclear weapons around the planet and hold ourselves and the aliens hostage. If the aliens are invading, then it's probable they want this planet to remain habitable. So by threatening the detonation of hundreds of nuclear weapons around the world, we might just be able to deter them. Want to rule over an irradiated rock plunged into nuclear winter, not to mention the loss of the aliens' own forces in the subsequent global apocalypse. If this strategy fails, however, our next option would be to do as other human forces have done throughout history and resort to guerrilla warfare. Rather than try and combat the aliens toe-to-toe, we would instead open our military armories up to the civilian population and give weapons, ammunition, and other survival supplies to as many people as possible.
Imagine that, an alien invasion, and then just getting equipped with all types of weapons and stuff, everyone going crazy. It's I don't know, there's a part of me thinks that would be horrific, but there's also a part of me thinks that would actually be pretty cool. What a better time to bear up arms and fight globally than against an alien invasion. I think it'd be pretty, I don't know if cool's the right word, but it would be different, so to speak.
Because our cities would be the most obvious and immediate targets, our standing military forces would then be ordered to disperse into the countryside. Military leadership would no longer operate on a national level. Instead, local forces would join into guerrilla militias and operate under their own prerogative, striking at the aliens' supply, command and control, and resource networks, not dissimilar to strategy employed by stranded American forces after the Japanese seized the Philippines in World War II. This is also not unlike the strategy employed to great effect against both the United States and the Soviet Union by Afghan Mujahideen. In both wars, the native Afghan militias faced an overwhelmingly technologically superior foe that was better armed and better trained. Both the United States and the Soviet Union initially dominated the majority of the Afghan countryside, and yet in both wars, the world's two superpowers were forced to eventually retreat. The strategy
Right. So, this is a subject I know quite a bit on, guys, especially with Russia. So, they were a superior fighting force fighting a less superior fighting force. However, the Russians were, unbeknown to them, it was indirectly, I'm not going to say who funded who, but the Taliban ended up getting ground-to-air missiles where they could take out helicopters and stuff like that, which was a massively strategical advantage for the Taliban, who were there being dominated by the Russians, and then the Russians had to retreat because of this. Now, who was funding who? You can drop a comment below as to that, but it's been a bit of point scoring with United States and Russia all the way back to Vietnam, basically. It's who funded who kitted who out. But yeah, you have a bit of research into that, guys, and you'll see where I'm coming from. So yeah, the Russians and the Americans didn't just get beaten off the Taliban. There's various other reasons why, and funding from other alternative states has definitely got a lot to do with it, guys. If you want to talk about that a bit more, drop a comment below, guys.
The strategy that led the Afghan Mujahideen to victory against the #1 and #2 most powerful militaries on Earth was the same as that we would employ against aliens: harass and delay the enemy until the economic and political cost of the war is too great to continue. But would dragging alien invaders into a drawn-out and costly war really be an effective strategy? Considering that aliens would have to replace losses of equipment and soldiers by resupplying from their home planet, while we enjoy the home field advantage and don't have to cross interstellar space with our reinforcements, it is a valid tactic that could potentially work. In fact, throughout human history, wars of attrition have been the only tactic ever employed by a technologically inferior foe versus a superior invader that has ever seen success, as proven in recent centuries by forces in parts of colonial Africa and the Middle East. Realistically, if aliens have the power to cross the galaxy and wanted our planet, there's little we could actually do. Whether they
Right, that's the most sense he said all video, and guess what? It's near to the end now, so that's rather fitting, isn't it, guys?
bombarded us from space with asteroids and waited out the resulting nuclear winter, or simply bioengineered a super plague that eradicated human life, their technology would almost certainly be too great to resist. However, if we are ever faced with our favorite of science fiction scenarios, at least we know that we stand a fighting chance of victory. And while this scenario will most likely never happen, what will happen for sure is that you will, at some point, need a website. And when you do, remember these words.
Right then, troops, I think that's it for that one. How to defend Earth against an alien invasion. Well, at the end, we realised, yeah, we probably can't. Okay, we can hypothesize, we can think about loads of different types of theories that would aid us in the potential victory against alien invasion. However, if you don't know the enemy you're fighting, you don't know how to fight the enemy. Does that make sense? So, yeah. I like these alien videos, but there's a lot of hypotheticals in these. If you liked it, press that like button, share and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new here. And if you want to become a member, press the join button, troops. But other than that, I will see you in the next video. Peace and love.